Well, I'd like to welcome each one of you to watch this. This is one of my favorite patients, Tom. And he has been a patient in our office for close to 20 years, somewhere between 18 and 20 years in that range.
It's been something like that, 18, 20 years, yeah.
So, Tom, why did you come to our office in the first place?
Well, I had a slight accident here. It's been about 18, 20 years ago. I was doing some chores around my house, and I tripped on my water hose or something it was, and it really wrenched my back. And I was concerned about it, kind of ignored it, but it got worse and worse. And I passed Dr. Day's office down the street here a little bit, so I thought I'd check in with him. And he reviewed me, took some x-rays and stuff, very thorough, very professional. And he told me what he needed to do, and there was a few adjustments he had to make. It wasn't an instantaneous thing. And I said, fine, let's do it. And I was amazed at when I recovered from this thing here, I had more ease in my back, and I was feeling a lot better. And he explained some things that he wanted to do with me. And it's kind of like, a car when it's wandering down the road, and you can't figure out what's going on. It's pulling this way or another. And you take it into the garage, and he looks at it and says, you need a front alignment. Well, I need a subluxable
adjustment. That's right. Because you had subluxations, you have misalignments in your spine that were putting pressure on the nerves, causing the problem.
There you go.
Now, and you noticed within a fairly short period of time, I mean, you had a really good relief of the back problems and so forth, right? But then you ended up continuing with chiropractic for a number of reasons, right? What happened?
Well, I found this was being beneficial with me, and as time goes by, I was getting a little bit older, and another thing was affecting me. Well, I was standing on concrete. I was in a warehouse, and I had my own medical physician there. Told me, he says, Tom, you got to remember when you have these problems that your body wasn't built to stand on concrete for 8, 10, 12, 14 hours a day. The human body wasn't built for that. And that's why I have one of the factors. I'm retired now. I'm pushing 73 years old. I try to keep my life active. I'm involved in my church quite a bit, and around my home, and I got enough things to keep me off the street.
That's right.
So I try to keep active.
So I don't want, let's not go past that so quickly, because for those of you watching this, you might not guess that Tom is 73 years of age. And if you heard the sorts of things that he was doing in his life, you would just shake your head. I mean, when he talks about his church, I mean, he goes and interviews people who come and visit their church. He would go and talk to them, help them plug into the church. I mean, Tom, and he's involved in learning about the Bible. I mean, there's very active Bible study, a lot of things, and this is, and I guess as I think about Tom and I think about his life, one of the reasons I'm a chiropractor is because adjusting his spine has helped him live the life that he really wants to live. Now, you've had some interruptions along the way. Now, I think about, I'll never forget when we got the call after your motorcycle wreck. What happened?
That was one of my worst experiences. I had 2 car accidents prior to that. Actually, I've been in 4 accidents.
All right.
And you say, what is, drive bad and haven't? No, they've been all third-party incidents. And the first 2, I had my chest crushed a little bit, and I healed up in that about 4 or 6 months. The doctor told me, he said, it's going to take that long a time. And my bag, and I was strapped in and everything, so it's just the impact of it. Elderly later hit me coming out from a side street, and then I had another one where I'm trying to think what happened. I've had so many. I've been fortunate the past 4 years here, but we're looking at about 8 years ago. When I had the first one, and then I had another one the following year, and it was a little more serious. I'm trying to remember what.
But and as I think, I'm trying to think back each one of these, bringing him through a healing process. And so if you've been in a car accident or there's something that's causing you to be watching this video, just understand that each one of these could have been very significant in his life, but we kind of passed through them because we were able to get him patched back up and fixed up, and then he's on with life, and then a year later another one happens, and then, but this motorcycle, the reason that stands out for me is here he was sitting, getting ready to go onto the freeway, as I recall, right? And someone coming in, almost like they didn't even see him, that he was stopped there waiting for his turn to go onto the freeway. And he got projected like a missile. And the scary thing for me is you never know if somebody's going to live through something like that. I mean, just this year there was someone in our church who got killed who was on a motorcycle and was hit by a car, right? So the story of Tom's life is God's protection on him. And, you know, it helps reaffirm what you're doing with your life and the importance of your life. Because after that, I mean, Tom lived through that. And then the injuries were quite significant. It was a big project to get you back. And then even the most recent one, I mean, you and your sister were going across the Highway 26, going over to the Bend area, right? And somebody veered over into their, so it was a bad head-on collision. I mean, so bad that there was somebody killed in the other car. So I mean, this is big-time stuff that Tom has been through. And he made the call, and we were able to kind of patch him back together for that. And it's really an amazing thing as we look at your life. We say God has protected you. He's allowed you to heal.
Amen.
And I just look forward. In fact, I kind of joke with Tom because when he comes in, I call him the ambassador because is our office a little different from most?
Yeah, I like your clinic here. You keep an open, homey atmosphere here where people can try to talk to one another. They're under pain and stuff like that, and Dr. Day is trying to get to that point there where that pain will go away through adjustments.
Yeah.
And he knows what needs to be done with you. Now, referring to that, we go back here, it's been about 6 years ago, when I had 4-year segments here, where I had an accident every year. Heal up, bang, heal up, bang.
Yeah.
And the motorcycle accident was one example. Beautiful, clear day. I've been biking for 20 years. And I was in Portland area here. I was on 39th Avenue trying to access myself onto the freeway. I just waiting for that light. There are only 3 to 5 second intervals. And I had my mind and my eyes focused on that light because everybody in the morning was ready to go to work. They were in a hurry. And before I knew it, I just bang, tremendous. It looked like somebody picked my body up and threw me at 100 miles an hour against a concrete wall. That's what it felt like. And when I come to, there was a guy holding me, and he was an off-duty EMT technician. He says, "We call the ambulance, just stay still, don't move." And I was looking up, and the guy was about 5 feet away from me. I said, "Who is this guy here?" And I was still groggy. Whole left side, just big time pain. And he says, "Well, that's the driver that hit you." And he was probably in his late 50s, I guess 60s. And anyways, I said, "Well, if I'm here, parallel with my motorcycle, why is my motorcycle still standing up?" He says, "Well, it looks like it's pretty well embedded in the front of his pickup." So I was about 8 feet out in front of my bike. I was blown off my bike and through the windshield and whammed on the fire department got there, the EMTs did, and they were feeling me all over very carefully, and they put me on a body board. And he says, "Well, I don't seem to be any broken bones." And the EMT says, "I'm amazed, no broken bones." He says, "I saw this guy blowed off the bike onto the pavement." And he only can figure that I was like a piece of jelly, knocked out, because I don't recall him hitting the pavement or anything. And he says, I was just a piece of jelly flying through the air. He says, "If you was conscious and seeing that, you would have stiffened up. You would have probably more than likely broken some bones." But anyways, I went to see my physician, and